Oh dear, my microphone, it seems to be slipping. Off to a bad start. Anyway, good morning. How are you then? All good? Thanks very much. I'm trying to arrange it properly. Can you help? You can see? Look, it's all working together. Yeah, we're going to have wonderful pictures of that one, I can tell you. This is what happens on live television, isn't it? All right. Big thanks, Gilles, for joining us on our 3D Experience Forum for Dassault Systems. And I say once again, in actual fact, because the first time that we were able to receive you, that was in 2021. At the time, the Renault Group was committed to bold initiatives for digital mobility, electrical mobility, that is, cloud, and of course for digital twins. Renault-lution, a virtual twin it was called. And we're very impatient to hear more about what's gone under the bridge since then, and maybe the next frontier that you're going to traverse. Yes, it's been 3 years now that we launched that particular program, and it's made vast inroads. We'll have an opportunity to revisit that in more detail. And of course, we turned around Renault. We've produced the best results ever over the last few months. They were brought out, and we've, of course, we devised, manufactured, and readied products. And 3D Experience is primarily for products. Perhaps we can look at a quick film to show you our cars. You'll like this. It's pretty dynamic. So you can see, we never get bored, do we? I saw Renault 5, is that right? I got a glimpse of that. Soon. All right, well, we'll turn to that later. All right, then, so what were the major changes in Renault Group since 2021, Gilles? Well, we've turned around the company, of course, but beyond that, we've significantly worked on integrating the electrical value chain. We've made additions and developments on digitalizing the car itself, the products on board, and we've made significant processes that have become digital within the company. This was unveiled a few months back. We were reorganizing the company in 5 entities, and so the digital backbone is hugely important to have this new group operate in its new structure. And of course, you have to think about upstream when you think about digital marketing, all the way through to the punching out of the cars themselves on the production line. So it's the genuine virtual twin process. What about the next frontier for technological innovation? Well, that's pretty straightforward to answer. It really is akin to what I said a moment ago. We need to move off to decarbonating totally, obviously, the production side, design side, but also usage. And this will involve developing electrical vehicles. So that's the first point. Second fundamental point is the smartphone on wheels, if you like. So, we look at the hardware, the software, look under the bonnet, updates, offering fresh services to our customers. And then the other dimension, which is very important and very much driven by our Chinese friends, is competitiveness, swift manufacturing turnaround, and RVT will be of great assistance to that end. What about partnerships and collaborations in Renault innovation? Well, there are two things. If you look at it in detail, we have a product work stream that's integrating the value chain. That's electricity. It's what we do with LG, Verkor, Vision for the batteries, Valeo for electrical engines. But we also have, on the other side, smartphone on wheels with Google, with Qualcomm, with Valeo as well. So a huge amount of development revolving around the products through significant partnerships where we try to save time by hooking up with the best. You know, our first, we're having an OS on our Android-based OS on our next car. That's done in conjunction with Google. And of course, the digital backbone that I've just made mention of. So we have Dassault Systèmes. We also have Google for industry. We have other software developers. I'm not going to quote them, obviously, here because we're among friends here. But anyway, lots of other companies that are feeding into that backbone. All right, if we just dwell on this technology, the virtual twin with the Renaulution virtual twin program, what impact has that had on the revolution phase underway within the group? Well, primarily, that impact is yet to come. All the work we've done for the last, 4 years, a bit more than 4 years in actual fact. 4 years ago, I joined Renault. So over that time, we've dusted things off, revised diversity, it's down to 3 years for punching out vehicles, and we've readied these twins. And so it's now with these new cars that RVT will be coming into bloom, if you will. So to be absolutely clear, 3 or 4% productivity gains every year for the same money. I do more modules for cars, more electric vehicles. I need to go from 4 to 7% productivity increase for the next few years. First point. Second point, we're at 4 years. Clio has been developed in the space of 4 years. The cars. This is easy to share, of course, because we announced them in January 2021, and then things were staggered over time. But the cars that are coming out of the factory, you would have seen, well, in that video, there are some that are developed more than 3 years, but most of them are. But Lucas announced this publicly that we have to develop the new Twingo in the space of just 2 years. All right, then.
How does the cloud and the 3D experience have they helped to support product innovation? Well, this is actually not my first PLS, for those of you who are aware of my personal history. It's my third. So I came to Renault about 5 years ago. There was a debate. It was the end of our contract with Dassault. We were on other projects, and then in another company, we were also in that situation. We'd witnessed the limitations of the system, and we said, let's go for it. Let's go full SaaS. So obviously I'm an engineer, I'm an engineering man, but the power of the tools available today allow us to have a full backbone for the entire company. So the deal I had with Lucas and Bernard back in the day were, as you're going to see in a moment, that we're going to have a 360 enterprise backbone. So obviously there's the design, there's the system, MBSCs, MBSWs. We're integrating in ALM. Obviously there's monitoring, validation, and so on. That's pretty conventional, but we've now expanded that to the entire company, which is crucial to me. How are you doing on the rollout of Renaulution Virtual Twin based on your cloud experience? Well, to date, we have around 5,000 users, and that was something that we really wanted to achieve with Olivier Colmar, who's in this room. We have actually integrated all of the legacy data into the platform almost overnight. 1,800 vehicles, vehicle variants are integrated. 500,000 components. And that is a necessary condition for procurement to enter the platform, for costing to do so, for logistics to use it, and so on and so forth. If everyone has their own conventional backbone authoring, it won't work. So that was the development. So 5,500 users. I hope that 3 years from now, with the extended company, we should have around 19,000 full SaaS features that, with an integration roadmap, and the fact that we're full SaaS allows us every 2 months to upgrade. So it was a bit of a problem in the past. Things wouldn't boot up on a Monday. It doesn't happen all the time, but it may. We had problems with response time, but things are running pretty smoothly now. It's no longer a problem. I remember the version upgrades, V5, V6, training and so on. It was hell. It was a nightmare. But now, almost nothing goes wrong. A couple of indicators. Our MTBC for crash is 450 hours, which I had never achieved in premise, and MTBF, failure, which is 120 hours. So it wasn't always like that, but we are robustifying things. A very important point, and another important point, is that 5,500 users are all over the world: Korea, India, Romania, France, South America, because of course we're a global company with people all over. So the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, as you were saying, is essentially used in engineering for design, simulation, and product manufacturing. But I'm sure that within Renault Group, surely not only engineering uses it. Engineering is the best job in the world. Well, yes, of course. I forgot to say. Well done. We haven't rehearsed this, but obviously I agree. That's what we're betting on. And there are witnesses in this room. When we rolled out this program, I said, this will be a success if 18 months down the road, that was 2021, if 18 months down the road, people stand in line to enter the program. So to be honest, it took 2 years, not 18 months, but we're having very tough development cost reintegration discussions with Dassault, because there are so many requests from other departments to come into the system that we need to prioritize to do things properly. And the fact that we're at SaaS allows us to do our developments, to test our developments, and then when we update, to make sure that all users are up and running. So what's key? Of course, everyone can keep their own authoring tools. You're not going to change the repositories and so on, but you can go and create instances in a unique environment, and all of the group's stakeholders can, from a simple laptop, access their authoring tools, but also the 3D. So you can actually go into there and see your part. So I won't tell you about computer-assisted creation, computer-assisted CAD, CAO, and so on. But the extended company. So we have a short film. It's a little bit long, but it's pretty interesting. We have all the time in the world. Let's have a look.
You'll see how 8 companies' functions uses the Renault Virtual Twin platform. Access to the platform is available through a welcome dashboard, offering users to choose from different types of access, by business, tools, projects.
First use case, Paul in the costing department uses 3D for All to support his price estimation. 3D for All is part of our VT Essentials and is accessible from any basic workstations. Paul selects Renault R5 project. 3D Virtual Twin is now available to all, included non-Kasia users. Couple of basic filtering allows one to find the relevant 3D data and to focus on specific perimeter. Paul wants to focus on drive shaft. Now some competitors' 3D mock-up are available. Couple of basic filtering allows one to find competitors' vehicles by brand and model. Paul decides to compare same part from R5 and from competitor. He chooses MG brand and model 4. Parts from two vehicles are loaded in the same screen. It makes it easy to compare. Versatility of measure tools allows Paul to collect useful physical information about the part. That can help in proposing cost-reducing solutions.
Elena from Engineering Department uses Part Optimizer and Part 360 to support the design of these parts. Elena selects the part in Part Optimizer, an AI tool dedicated to propose 3D similar parts. She can find with AI all similar parts available from Renault or competitors. She selects the brand and adds selected parts to a comparator to see the differences. From Part 360, Elena can easily access to single source of truth on all part data. The 3D representation including part localization in the vehicle. All BOM usage or carryover information. Elena can also access to LUP quality issues and raw material decomposition.
Mehmet works in the procurement department. He uses Digital War Room and Part 360 to support his supplier selection. Mehmet uses the similarity calculation of the technical data from Digital War Room to have access to proposals of intern and bench parts. He accesses onto part list via the following table. Mehmet chooses the internal part from the list for comparison. He accesses to price data for the different parts and uploads it to the 3D structure. Mehmet can also select competitor parts to extend the comparison. The drive shaft coming from Volkswagen T-Roc has an interesting degree of similarity is loaded for analysis. He can see the overlay of the three parts to help him analyze the gaps.
Jean works in the turnaround department. She uses speed to manage distressed supplier substitution. Jean can see if the supplier is in distress. In the case of a necessary change of supplier, she can identify the planning to be applied in order to successfully carry out the substitution. Jean can manage the milestones for the supplier substitution.
Leon works in the supply chain department and uses Part Optimizer to look for existing packaging reuse. From Part Optimizer, Leon consults the calculation of the bounding box for the part in scope. He searches for similar part dimensions.
Camila works on manufacturing department and uses Delmia to optimize assembly ergonomics. Camila checks part trajectory and hand access. Camila can after confirm the assembly process.
Eric works on after-sales department and uses Delmia to build repair manual. Thanks to digital continuity, Eric can design the future repair manual from the same virtual twin. Eric localizes the components to be dismantled and he refers to this.
Jade works in the perceived quality department. Jade can perform the final review in 3DEXPERIENCE with a high-level realistic rendering of the future Renault bestseller based on last and shared R5 Renault virtual twin.
Elle est magnifique cette vidéo.
What a great video. Well, of course, if you look at the video, it all looks really simple, but imagine that all of these features had specific authoring tools and so on. So all of the convergence work was conducted. And now for every new project, we recently announced with Volvo Trucks and CGA CGM a new gearbox called Flexis. new company called Flexis that's going to be developing a last mile delivery vehicle. And all of that's done in 3D Experience. And now all new cars are entirely integrated to the 3D Experience for their development. As we said, there are millions of cars who are already in Dassault's cloud and allow all of these functions to work. Back to the R5. When's it on the market? Well, if all goes well, I've just launched the rolling fleet. We're going to be ramping up just before the summer holiday. And in the autumn, you can probably be driving it. And we already have 70,000 pre-orders for it, which is not that bad. So in conclusion, Gilles, any thoughts? Well, I truly believe that this project, it's a trip. It's a voyage. Personally, I believe that we are undergoing a major transformation, and it's something that's going to last, because when a function enters the 3D experience and when they trust this single point of truth, there are huge time savings. But as you saw in the film, we have a fleet optimizer, a part optimizer, we have part 360. So all of the data, mass, material, CAO, validation, and so on, are there. So in part 360, it's something that we're continuing to enrich, and whoever works for the group can have full confidence in that, because that is where all of the data is concentrated. So very clearly, we are developing currently, and then of course, I haven't yet talked about the bonus Scrabble words, which is obviously AI. And with AI, it's going to be a fantastic, obviously, playing field for AI, and that is going to be the next step we're going to try to develop. So see you at the next forum? Yeah, well, not so sure. We'll see. Thank you so much, Gilles. So, after our exploration in the heart of Renault Group, let's now take a deep dive into the fascinating world of modern craftsmanship, where tradition and tech get together. Our next guest is a designer. He created his own startup, S-Concept, and you're going to see that his approach and design of things in the very physical sense are really amazing. Please welcome Lucas Saden.